Hi, this is Bob Ray's Tennis. This should be your first video. If you're going to look at the video series that I have, this should be the first one. I'm going to try to explain the basic principles of playing the game. I get into more specifics in the other videos. This is a broad view of the game of tennis. I'm going to break it down into 4 parts. 1, watching the ball. 2, positioning yourself, that's footwork. 3 is the biomechanics of hitting the ball, what you do with your arms, your legs, and your torso, and so forth. And then 4 is how you go out and practice these things. Start with watching the ball. Most people look at the ball and the court and the opponent without focusing specifically on the ball. To give you an idea of how intense you should be watching the ball, I've got, let's say, 2 balls here. One is a Wilson and one is a Penn. I'm going to throw one toward the camera, and I want you to see if you can read the writing on the ball. And this is just an example of how intensely you should watch the ball. They even hit the camera. Okay, now if you could see that ball well enough to read the writing, that's how intense you should watch the ball. You should watch it all the way into your racket. Now, secondly, we're talking about positioning, footwork. First of all, you don't want to take large steps if you can avoid it. When you're running, you take natural steps, but just before you hit the ball, you take small steps. When the person on the other side hits the ball to you, you should be in a position of bouncing on your toes and being ready to go in either direction. You don't want to be running this way when they hit the ball toward you unless you're completely off the court. What you normally do is get off to the side and then sidestep back. Running back puts you in a position where they can hit from where you came, it's called wrong footing you, and you don't want to get in that position. You want to be facing the opponent at the moment they hit the ball, and be ready to go in both directions. You want to make a lot of small steps in getting into position to hit the ball. You don't want to get into a position where you're taking long steps. That puts you off balance and makes it difficult to change directions or adjust to the ball. The footwork rhythm is determined by the ball. If you want to think of this as a dance, the ball being hit is 1 beat, and if you're in the backcourt, the ball bouncing is the 2nd beat, and then you hitting the ball is the 3rd beat. So it's like boom, boom, boom. Now that's going to change depending on the speed of the ball. It could be boom, 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 or boom, 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 or boom, boom, boom. And you've got to move your feet in that rhythm. If you wait for the ball to bounce on your side of the court before you start moving your feet, you're not going to be in good position. You've got to start the process of moving your feet at the moment the opponent hits the ball. And then you adjust, and then you hit the ball. Now let's get into the 3rd principle, and that is the biomechanics of hitting the tennis ball. You want to get your body into a position that it can produce maximum results. That sounds pretty obvious, but that means you want to get into a coil. A snake attacks you from a coil. You kick, you throw, you run, always from a bent to a straight, bent to a straight. You don't want to go from straight to bent. I'm going to get a racket now. Before you hit a tennis ball, you want to be down. Knees bent, waist bent, elbows bent, bent. You don't want to be straight before you hit a tennis ball. You don't want your arm to be straight. You want your arm to be bent, bent. When you hit the ball, you want an extension. You want to go from bent to extend. Bent, extend. When you're serving, it's bend, extend. You don't want to contract. If you watch a lot of videos of really good players, these millionaires you see on TV, you'll see them jumping off the ground. And I run into students who think that that's the way to learn the game, and it is not. And the reason that they're jumping is because their opponent is forcing them to jump. Good tennis is extreme tennis. Extreme power, extreme direction, extreme spin. When you topspin a ball, like the ball will go high over the net, dip down, and bounce up high. So a person could not hit the ball in this position. They would hit it up here. So a lot of times you see a jump as they hit the ball. Now, as a beginner, you don't want to do that. You want to try to find people that you can hit against to develop your strokes in a very comfortable area, so you develop confidence and feel. Learning to hit the ball in extreme situations is something that comes as you develop. It's not what you want to do initially. You don't want to put yourself in extreme positions and find that you can't hit the ball and lose confidence and lose rhythm and lose all sorts of things. You want to develop the basics and then apply the basics to more advanced tennis. Now, we're going to get into number 4, which is how to apply all this, how to practice this. I believe in a wall. That's a wall. You're going to hit a lot of tennis balls when you get hit against the wall. When you go out as a beginner or an intermediate to play other beginners and intermediates, you don't get to hit a lot of balls. They don't have a lot of control. You don't have a lot of control. The balls are all over the place. You're chasing the balls. You're not hitting ball after ball after ball. Now, you can get a ball throwing machine, or you can hit a wall. Setting up a ball throwing machine can be a complex thing. First of all, it's expensive. They start at around $500. Most are a little more than that. You got to put it. If you don't live next to a court, which most people don't, you got to put it in your car. You got to take it to the court. You got to have a large supply of balls to put in the ball throwing machine. They've got to allow you to be on the court. There are many facilities that refuse to allow people to have more than 3 balls on a court. Or, I mean, they do have battery-operated machines, but if you have a plug-in machine, you've got to use somebody else's electricity usually. Unless you have your own private court, a ball throwing machine is an awkward thing. It's something that is good for you. If you want to go through the process of doing it, I advise you to do it. But you're more likely to practice regularly if you have a wall to hit against. So I strongly urge you to find one. at most tennis facilities, they do have a wall. Most schools have handball courts. And if you want to call me, I'll tell you where they are in San Diego. Okay, that's my introduction to tennis. I'll be covering other parts of the game later on. You can apply to my channel. Thank you.